Hello, friends from across the nation and around the world. I'm Martin, and you are listening to Dad's Bedtime Stories. This weekend, I have another special treat for you. Yet another episode of my new and upcoming book, Unbound Superhero Academy. I won't be releasing all the chapters here, but I thought some of these introductory chapters in the introductory battles were a good place to start because it sort of introduces the other characters in the novel. This episode is about Meera, who has the power to heal. We get a bit about her backstory, and then we see her battle with Alex, the main character of the story. If you like the episode, don't forget you can check out all of the rest on Patreon. I've finished chapter 24 at this point, and I just have a few more chapters to go, I believe, until the end of this very first book, though I already have ideas for a second one. But now, it's that time again. Time to get as comfy as you can in that bed, close your eyes, and imagine yourself doing what the kid, or kids, or teenagers in this case, in the story do. Chapter 10. "All right, Alex," Martin said. "Time for the next one. Meera, you're up." Alex stepped into the ring again. Physically, he was feeling okay, thanks to the whole healing thing, but he still felt tired. The healing didn't seem to fix that. He also couldn't shake how strange the whole situation was. He was at a superhero academy, battling other powered students in a makeshift tournament. Not exactly how he thought he'd spend the weekend. As he entered the ring, he looked across at Meera. She didn't look very big, or very tough. She couldn't be more than 5'4", and frankly, she was kinda scrawny. Also kinda beautiful, though, if he was being honest. He knew she was a healer, but he couldn't figure out exactly what would be dangerous about that. He glanced back at Martin, silently asking, "Is this really okay?" "I know what you're thinking," Meera said, as if reading his mind. "You're thinking I'm just a healer, maybe wondering what threat I could possibly pose. Well, I assure you, if you go easy on me, you'll regret it. I'm far more than a healer. Otherwise, would they really have put me in this tournament?" That was a good point, but what other powers could she have? The truth was, Meera could do far more than heal. Healing was just the first power she developed, but that gift had evolved. You see, Meera was always a bit of a dreamer, the kind of girl who stayed open to the impossible. She also grew up with basic cable. No Netflix, no Prime, no real streaming of any kind. They had internet, but it wasn't fast enough to watch much. So she watched whatever was on, whenever it was on. As anyone who grew up with basic cable knows, on Sunday, there wasn't much of anything on. After early morning cartoons, most of the networks switched to televised church services. Most of them bored her to tears, but one always caught her attention. A man named Reverend Hope. Reverend Hope wasn't your typical preacher. He was a self-proclaimed faith healer. Every Sunday, on TV, he'd give a sermon, then invite the sick and injured on stage. One by one, he'd ask what was wrong, and then, miraculously, heal them. Couldn't raise your arm? Reverend Hope would grab it, pronounce healing in the name of a higher power, and yank it straight into the air. Now, years later, it would turn out that the whole thing was a scam. Reverend Hope wasn't even a real reverend, but Meera didn't know that. She saw what he could do, and she believed it. While most people thought Reverend Hope had a special gift, Meera just saw it as proof that the power existed. If some old guy on TV could do it, why couldn't she? Her first attempt came one Sunday, right after watching his broadcast. A bird slammed into the living room window. It happened now and then. Reflections confused them. She ran to check on it. The bird lay on the ground, twitching slightly. Not dead, but definitely not okay. She picked it up, closed her eyes, and spoke softly to the universe, asking it to grant her the power to heal. She felt a profound sense of warmth and love wash through her body. She transferred that feeling onto the bird. There was a faint glow, and suddenly, the bird sprang up. It looked at her and gave the best smile a beaked creature could manage. Then, it leapt into the air and flew away. Meera, now thoroughly convinced of her new talents, tried healing every injured animal she could find. A butterfly with a torn wing, fixed in seconds. A mouse that had been attacked by a cat, good as new. She wanted nothing more than to help, but injured animals didn't just show up every day. Unless, of course, you were a veterinarian. Meera started volunteering at the local vet's office after school. She helped care for the animals, and when the vet wasn't looking, she healed them. It wasn't long before the vet started wondering why people kept bringing in perfectly healthy animals. But hey, it made her job easier and she still got paid. Then, one day, Meera tried to heal a particularly mean cat, named Mr. Miyagi for some inexplicable reason, and she got scratched. It wasn't a bad scratch, but it was the perfect test. She placed her hand on the wound and did what she'd done 100 times before. By the time she pulled her hand away, the only thing left was a smear of blood. From there, she started experimenting on other humans. At first, just close friends, small cuts, scrapes. She always asked them to keep it quiet, and for a while, they did. But when she healed her friend Alexis's broken arm, everything changed. Alexis had already been to the hospital. X-rays had confirmed the break. When she asked Meera for help, Meera placed her hand on the cast and summoned that familiar warmth. By the next day, the arm was perfectly fine. The doctors were baffled. The X-rays didn't lie, but the new ones showed no break. No sign of any damage at all. Eventually, the doctors just chalked it up to a mix-up, switching scans maybe. Then came the visit from Mr. Smith and Mr. Black. They visited Alexis first, and for some strange reason, she told them everything. You see, that's the thing about Mr. Smith. People always feel like telling him the truth. Or, really, they feel however he tells them to. And when he left, Alexis didn't even remember the conversation. Their next visit was to Meera, and by the next day, Meera was gone, off to the Canadian Superhero Academy without a single worry in her head. Also thanks to Mr. Smith, of course. She didn't regret it or anything, but he had subtly made her want it more than she probably would have otherwise. Since then, Martin and the Academy staff had helped her develop her powers. She learned to heal nearly any wound or illness with very minimal effort. But she also learned the opposite, how to inflict pain and sickness, something Alex was about to find out. The two stepped into their fighting stances. When Martin gave the signal, Alex shifted into his faster self. This time he didn't hesitate. He didn't know what Meera's other powers were, and he wasn't sure he wanted to find out. He zipped over beside her slow-motion moving body and aimed a punch that would end the match, without hurting her too much, he hoped. It felt strange, like he was tagging her lightly on the head. Her slow-motion reaction was intense. She reached for her head as she fell, a clear look of pain frozen on her face. Alex immediately felt awful. Images of Shane and the broken rib flashed through his mind. He slowed down to normal and rushed to her side. "Are you okay?" he asked, crouching beside her. I think so," she said. Then she smiled. Her hands left her head and grabbed Alex by the arm. A sudden rush of pain tore through his body. It was like being hit in the head with a hammer. Alex collapsed, clutching his skull. The world spun, and everything went black. Warmth returned first. A glowing, peaceful warmth. And then came the sound of voices. "Alex? Alex?" He opened his eyes. Two beautiful faces stared down at him. Mary, the adult super healer, and Meera. "Are you okay?" Meera asked. "I think so," he said groggily. "What did you just hit me with?" "No, I just gave you the same thing you gave me," she replied. "I can sort of inflict injuries just as well as I can heal them. Thought a little taste of your own medicine might be good for you." "I hit you that hard?" Alex asked. "I'm truly sorry. I have trouble knowing how hard I'm hitting in that state." "I could tell," she said, smiling. "Luckily, you hit someone who doesn't stay hurt for very long." "All right, kid, let's get you some water," Martin said, coming over and helping him to his feet. "Then you can have a short break before your final match against Ian." Alex took a deep breath as he stood up. Just one more battle, he thought. I think I can do that. Chapter 11. Ian the Iceman. Once the rest was over, Alex and Ian both made their way back into the ring. Alex was more nervous than he had been before. His best strategy was clearly the same one he'd tried on Meera: speed himself up, run in, and take him out as quickly as he could. The only issue was that he still had no idea how hard he was able to hit. Meera had shown him the damage he could do to people, and the whole thing brought back memories of Shane. On top of that, Ian wasn't a healer. If he did too much damage before Ian could be properly treated, well, he didn't want to think about what could happen then. He'd have to be very careful. Ian, on the other hand, was anything but nervous. He'd already been in the program for a while now, and he was very confident in his abilities. He had ways of slowing down fast people, and after watching Alex fight the others, he was pretty sure he could end this quickly. Ian's powers worked much the same way as Amber's, only instead of making things hot, he was able to make them cold. The two had actually unlocked opposite parts of the same power. They might have seemed different, but they had more in common than you might think. In fact, Ian's power had unlocked in much the same way Amber's had, only in a very different climate. His parents were what many call adventure tourists. Their goal on vacation wasn't to relax, it was to do the opposite, They wanted to get their blood pumping. The closer their adventures brought them to danger or possible death, the better. The day Ian's power manifested started like any other. They were on vacation in Nevada and had signed up for a family ATV trip through the desert. It was only supposed to be a half-day trip, so they packed just enough food and water for that. Then they climbed into a side-by-side ATV and headed out. It was a lot of fun at first, flying over sand dunes at incredible speed, until the ATV began to hiss and steam poured out of the engine. They had a plan for such a thing. The company had installed radios in all of their vehicles to signal for help. Unfortunately for Ian's family, the radio was installed in the ATV itself. When they went to use it, the ATV suddenly caught on fire. The problem with the engine was clearly more serious than they'd thought. The family rushed out of the vehicle and moved a good distance away while they watched it burn. The sun was at its peak, and there was no real shade to speak of. Perhaps the ATV would provide some shelter once the fire went out, but for now it was way too hot to get anywhere close to it. It wasn't long before the water started to run out too. They were far too deep in the desert to make the walk back, so their best bet was to wait for the ATV company to come find them. As they sat together, holding Ian's shirt over their heads to try and create some sort of shade, Ian decided to meditate. When he was younger, he'd been a little too energetic and scattered. His parents had put him in a special martial arts program designed not just to teach fighting, but mindfulness and life lessons as well. He'd been against it at first, but he actually ended up flourishing it, thanks to his instructor, Sensei Paul. Both the martial arts skills and the meditation had stuck with him over the years. He started by trying to empty his mind. He closed his eyes and focused on a single thought, just as Paul had once taught him. He concentrated on the word be. No need to think, no need to change anything, just be with the discomfort. He focused on his breath and allowed it to anchor him in the moment. The practice made him feel more comfortable, or maybe it just helped him stop caring that he was uncomfortable. Once he reached that state, possibly made easier by dehydration, his mind began to wander. It wandered to colder places. He imagined sitting in one of those giant walk-in freezers that restaurants have. Then he imagined himself outside in the winter without a coat on. Strangely, he actually started to feel cold. At first, he thought he was hallucinating. Maybe he'd become so hot that he'd actually lost his mind. But when his mother started to shake him, he opened his eyes and saw his breath, as if he was really standing outside in the winter. His mother screamed. The sweat on his body was frozen, and Ian was radiating cold. Before they could really process what was happening, help arrived. 2 more side-by-side ATVs found the wreck. The family was immediately taken to safety, and Ian's body went back to normal. His parents weren't sure what to think about what they saw. Eventually, they convinced themselves it had been a hallucination, maybe a trick of the sun or heat stroke. But Ian knew it was real. He had felt the cold. That night, after a giant meal at the hotel, Ian sat in bed and decided to meditate again. He emptied his mind, went to the same place, thought the same thoughts. It didn't happen right away, but eventually, he reached that place again. He saw his breath. His hands became icy cold. He didn't tell anyone. He just kept practicing. Soon, cooling himself down became easier. Then, he moved on to trying to pass the cold on to other things. He started with a glass of water, holding it in his hands and trying to will it into ice. To his surprise, it worked. From there, he tried to increase the range of his cold. He moved the glass further and further away. Each time he succeeded, he pushed it back a bit more. Eventually, he learned how to cool down everything in the area. He could even condense the water and the air around him, causing it to fall like freezing rain or snow. The result? An instant skating rink. He got better and better. He learned to focus cold into blasts of air that instantly froze moisture in the air into ice, coating nearly any object into a sheet of frost. He even figured out how to form blocks of ice out of thin air, and, more usefully, how to make sharp icicles. The secret was to let them form naturally, starting with a block of ice in his hand and allowing parts of it to melt, drip, and refreeze into a sharp point. Ian actually went undiscovered longer than most. What got him caught was a fight at school. He wasn't the type to back down from conflict. When another student tried to show off by picking on a smaller kid, Ian stepped in. The bully didn't take well to a challenger his own size. Pushing turned to punching, punching turned into the bully slipping hard on a patch of sudden ice that formed beneath his feet. Ian hadn't meant for that to happen, but he'd practiced so much that his powers had become sort of second nature. Most people were just confused about the ice. They certainly didn't blame Ian. But some students, as they do, had posted videos of the whole thing online. 2 men in black suits were eventually dispatched, and Ian found himself with a very strong desire to attend a superhero academy in the middle of the Canadian wilderness. It wasn't hard to convince him, really. Ian was raised for adventure, and the idea of using his own new powers to help people? That was too good to pass up. Since arriving at the academy, Ian had only gotten better. He could freeze things faster and colder than ever. He'd also become pretty adept at throwing icicles with deadly precision. His plan to take on Alex was simple. Alex might be fast on solid ground, but he wouldn't be able to run so quickly on ice. Once he was slowed down, a blast of cold air would finish the job. When Martin called the start to the match, Ian acted fast. He instantly dropped the temperature of the ring, condensing the moisture in the air and freezing it into a slick sheet of ice. Alex had already shifted into his faster time frame, but now he had a lot more trouble moving. He started taking smaller steps, keeping his feet under him just as anyone on ice naturally would. He watched Ian carefully as an icicle slowly formed in his hand. Ian raised it and threw. Even with the icy ground, dodging it was easy. Alex ducked and slid across the floor as the icicle soared past his head in slow motion. But then came the burst of cold. A blast of freezing air radiated out from Ian, flash freezing the area. Ice started forming on Alex's skin. At his current speed, the ice shattered as quickly as it formed. He could still feel the bitter cold, but the ice couldn't build up. He pushed forward. The closer he got, the colder it became. If Alex had hit Ian without hesitation, he probably would have won. But he was cautious. He took his time. And the longer he waited, the more powerful the cold became. Eventually, it got the better of him. The chill went deep, bone deep, and as Alex stood long enough to line up a punch, the cold overtook him. It even started to slow down his time field. His movements slowed, ice crept over his body. By the time he was mid-punch, he was frozen solid, encased in an inch of ice. "Amber!" Martin shouted. "Heat things up in here, slowly." Amber did just that. Ian stepped back, and the room began to warm. The ice turned to water. Alex collapsed on the floor, shivering violently. Mary, the healer, rushed over, placed her hands on his chest, and sent a wave of warmth through his body, once again complete with the profound feeling of love. The shaking faded, his skin returned to its normal color. Alex took a deep breath. He felt better, but utterly exhausted. "Well, everyone," Martin said, "time to go home. Alex, walk with me." Martin helped Alex to his feet and led him out of the room. "Kid, you did well in there," Martin said. "I know you're probably thinking, I didn't win the majority of the matches, but the truth is, you easily could have." "Really?" Alex said. "How?" "Well, you hesitated. If you'd run up and hit them as fast and as hard as you could, not one of them would have stood a chance. Luckily for them, you're still afraid of your own power. Our first order of business is to change that." "I don't want to hurt anyone," Alex said as they exited the elevator and walked towards the dorms. "Well, I like that about you," Martin replied. "So, our first step is figuring out how hard you can hit, without seriously hurting anyone. Part of that means regulating your speed. The info from your suit shows your speed is wildly inconsistent. To control your strength, you need to control your pace. If you don't know how fast you're moving, you don't know how hard you're hitting. After that, we'll practice on something inanimate until you can consistently knock it out. Without using lethal force, of course." Alex nodded. "That actually sounds great," he said. And it really did. He needed to learn the extent of his powers and his strength. He wasn't sure Martin was right about easily beating the others. And even if he was, Alex still couldn't imagine running up and hitting someone with full force. He could think about that later. For now, it was time for bed. He said goodnight to Martin and headed back to his room. It wasn't night yet, but it might as well have been. All the fighting, all the healing, had left his body completely worn out. His head hit the pillow, and Alex fell asleep instantly.